Hi and welcome from the high desert in Arizona. I am your host of Hobo Radio. I am Professor Tuck. This is a digital homesteading Thursday. It's part of the survival broadcast series. Every weekday we break down a system that's rigged against you, and show you how to survive it. But before we begin, I got to do the disclaimer like I always do. Okay, especially with the topic that we're going to be talking about today. Nothing in this broadcast is legal advice, okay? I am not a lawyer. I'm not selling asset protection schemes. What I'm sharing is what I've done. I'm using my personal and lived experience and my use of lawful principles based upon the things that I've learned, and I'm sharing with you what I actually learned and how I was able to be successful. This is my personal narrative. This is... If you want legal facts, you got to be liable for yourself. Either go hire a lawyer or learn it on your own and be accountable for your actions. I mean, that's if you really want me to be blunt and direct and all this other stuff. So let's be honest. This kind of thing, it does sound complicated. You've got paperwork, you've got legal terms, you've got jurisdiction questions, trust structures, and you're probably wondering, why would I even want to go through something like this? And the answer is really simple. It's because the alternative is digital slavery. If you're building a digital income, a blog, a brand, a course, a store, or if you're just trying to become part of the digital economy, and it's all in your name, hosted on their platforms, and exposed to their systems, you don't own your income. That's the problem I'm having with YouTube right now. I don't own my income. YouTube decides how much money I can or cannot make. You don't own your platform. YouTube is the one that's bringing people there. And it serves me up when it benefits YouTube, not when it benefits me. And you definitely don't own your future, because at any time the wind could change and these platforms could say what you were saying yesterday was okay then, but today it's not. And so therefore, if you don't own your platform, you don't own your income, you don't own your customer, then you are going to be extremely vulnerable to something like this. Everything you think you built, they can shut it down, they can seize it, they can throttle it, or they can cancel it at any time. You think that you have privacy and security and all this other stuff, but you don't. Okay? But when you build your own infrastructure using legal shields in jurisdictions that are not owned by the same technocrats, you basically you get your own leverage. Okay, that's not just privacy; that's survival. So if you're looking for a way to create digital income without big tech owning your labor, because I mean, even Abraham Lincoln, the reason why he was against slavery was because he believed that every man was entitled to an honest day's wage, and so. If you have the right to choose how to sell your labor. Do you want somebody else to take your labor and to multiply it, or would you like to be able to have that on your own? Are you willing to make those sacrifices, or are you just going to step back and say, I would rather be dependent? Okay, shield your assets from predatory policy shifts. Okay, this is if you're looking to do that, or operate in peace without having to live in fear of the next terms of service update, because that's really what's happening. Even on social media, your comments are being flagged, your content is being flagged. It is constantly being combed through to find things that they claim to be a safety safety concern. So you want some proof? Okay. Let's talk about it, because we've been talking about this all week, okay? And I want you to really have a full-on understanding. If you haven't listened to the previous few days' broadcasts, then maybe you're going to want to, because on Constitutional Monday, we talked about who really owns you in the digital age. We broke down how the Constitution has been bypassed, not by force, but by redefinition. Rights aren't lost, they're categorized. Citizenship has been rewritten. Contracts aren't yours if you don't understand the language. That episode explains why sovereignty starts with reclaiming your legal status. And then on Tuesday, we talked about how your devices are testifying against you. VPNs, email encryption, they don't stop AI profiling. All right, and Homeland Security is training predictive systems on your behavior. Even when you're careful, you're still visible. This broadcast breaks the myth of security settings and shows you what real privacy infrastructure looks like. So go back and listen to Tuesdays if you want to catch up on that. And then on Wednesday, which was yesterday, we talked about what the system did. It didn't just end the family. It basically made tribe impossible. You've been disconnected by design. The government replaced your father. The algorithm replaced your neighbor. Support replaced survival. The community was dismantled to make you dependent. This episode shows you how to rebuild what they took. And if you want to go back and listen to yesterday's broadcast, you can find all of this in the blog over here on hobotuck.com. All right, so I was in a coffee shop with, you guys have heard me talk about this NSA agent. Okay, I sat across from a retired NSA agent in a coffee shop. He didn't give me theory. He actually showed it to me. Okay, so I was just transitioning my machine over to Linux. He already had a Linux machine. What ended up happening was he just kind of leaned over and says, "Hey, watch this." The guy in front of us had a Windows laptop, and he opened it up, and yeah, he had his security settings set on there, but that only works Windows to Windows, and Apple isn't going to pick up on it, but a Linux machine is. And so because he didn't password protect his hard drive, we were able to go in there and look through every single one of his files, because it's a design defect within the Windows operating system. I'm not sure if you can do this on an Apple, but I was able to witness it on a Windows machine. So the Windows machine, just by being on, broadcasts its presence. The Linux setup I saw, it accessed it. The hard drive was shouting. The user didn't even know. And that's when I realized that you cannot outsmart surveillance with settings. The machine itself is a snitch. Your phone records everything that you do. If you've seen what they've done with people that are doing the, like they'll turn off the lights and they'll use like an infrared sensor, and you can see how it's like every 3 to 5 seconds or so, it's scanning your face, it's scanning the room, it's listening to what you're saying, because people have been talking about for years about how when you say something and you're talking about buying something, all of a sudden those ads start showing up. And that's how we found out that they were listening. And then we've got the alphabet agencies installing listening devices on a lot of these smart TVs and other things like that. Plus, they've got the backdoor key to all of it, so you have no privacy. Everything that you use that is technology-based, from your computer to your phone, anything that connects to the internet or that it requires complex software design, is going to be monitoring you in one form or fashion. Okay, so this is why you need an LLC before you ever need to go get a VPN or get an encryption or get anything else like that. Okay, and that's really what we're going to get into the crux of, is I'm going to teach you guys in simplistic terms. I'm not going to give it all away for obvious reasons and some reasons that you probably don't even think about. The easiest way to put it is, what I'm sharing with you, if the wrong people use it, I could end up in a place like Gitmo. In 2013, Obama made guys like me a threat to society because we were having a lot of success in the courtroom. And so by labeling us as a threat as they did, we kind of had to just, either you kind of just faded into the background and handled your stuff, but you stopped making yourself known. Okay? The thing is, we're about ready to go through an economic collapse. We're actually kind of in the middle of it right now with everything that's been going on. And this type of stuff is going to become important again, especially with the understanding of digital surveillance. You guys heard me talk about the other day how we had U-2 planes over here mapping this whole area. I mean, that's you lose privacy now. I mean, it used to be they had to drive by, but now they can put a plane in the air and you can't even see it. Okay, so even if you secure your digital life, you're still the legal target unless you shift that exposure. So that's what an LLC is, and that's where it comes in. It is and it isn't about business, but it is also about legal shielding, because you can use it for many different ways. You are going to want to, in the digital economy, you're going to want to make some form of money. Okay, so having a front-facing organization that has more rights than you do as a human being, and if you know how to use it and operate it to your advantage, now you're able to retain your privacy because you've taken the time to educate yourself so that you know how to properly enforce your privacy. And that's really where this is going to, boil down for you, okay? So with this, when you start up a business or an LLC, you get a separate tax ID, which means you don't own the asset, the company does, okay? And we'll talk about this a little bit more over time. A registered agent means that your personal name and address stay hidden, but there's other ways to be able to do that as well. There's a lot of different ways in which you can circumvent this, and I will share with you some ways, but not other ways, because you got to be creative. You got to go learn this on your own. Go on over to my survival toolkit, which is a tab there if you're here on hobotuck.com. If you go over, if you see that, that will give you a list of some free stuff, some paid stuff. I'm still building it out, but at least this legal stuff that we're talking about and kind of getting you guys to wrap your minds around this, I'm putting information out there so that you can read it and decide for yourself. Okay, but these are the things that I learned. I was successful with them, and I had a lot of fun doing it. Because what really happens is that the world becomes your sandbox. You write your story, and if you ever study what I'm teaching you, you will understand exactly what I just said, and you'll sit there, smile, and chuckle, because everything is a fiction. Okay, so this everything that you do front-facing, such as your contracts, your hosting, your domains, it's all done under that entity. Okay, because what you're doing is you're distancing your person from the public. Instead of going out and using your legal person, because most people don't understand it because they look at it as their name, even though it's